In the ancient times, humans fetched for ways to deal with Earth. And everything was totally strange, and humans abruptly eat like animals. 2 million years ago, during the Stone Age, humans were still finding their way around how to feed and survive. They were dumb enough not to realize that foods can be cooked, so eat raw flesh that is neither cooked nor smoked. Perhaps later on, when they tried things out and discovered fire, they started roasting flesh of animals, and it was a wide discovery at that time. So, they were excited to discover that cooked food tastes way better and delicious. No one was worried about any disease or infection then, because human was living like nature. Life then was a total mess. If you set your eyes on the primitive man, you will be very fast to call him a loser, because everyone walks around almost naked, with just a tiny piece of cloth covering the genital parts of the body. But fast forward to the modern world today, Earth has evolved. Humans has mastered how to live on Earth and enjoy the good things of life to the fullest. Talk about the discovery of mind-blowing technology, construction of giant infrastructural projects, and development of astonishing transportation vehicles and airplanes. Humans are almost living in the sci-fi world. But the downside side of it is that human evolution on Earth has expanded so fast that Earth is becoming so occupied. And a lot of toxic energies and pressures exacted by over 8 billion people that occupy the planet makes Earth, our dear home, very toxic for us to live. However, a lot of nightmare scenarios has been going on over the years, many being kept as a secret from the public. The little-known disasters that almost crippled the world are deadly diseases, like the HIV/AIDS, the COVID-19 virus, global warming, the high-intensity heat from the sun, and millions of waste dumps in the sea. The world may soon be crashing. However, the human race is lucky enough to have a messiah like Elon Musk, who proved that we can create a second planet to save our lives, perhaps when Earth finally breaks down. Elon Musk has over the years worked around the clock, toiling day and night to transfer human colonization from Earth to the Moon and Mars. Elon Musk did not just vow to transport humans to Mars, but he has always worked on the process. First, he founded SpaceX and over the years, continued to develop the starship that will take the human race to Mars. But the scary question is, how will the trip to Mars be and when will it happen? And how will other space companies collaborate with SpaceX to ensure humans survive on other planets in space? Let's find out. NASA plans to join forces with SpaceX and send the first humans to the surface of Mars, bring them back home safely and sound to tell others of their experience on the red planet. Let's give you a breakdown of how both companies will do it. The first step in the process of reaching Mars will be an incredible one. Since it will take us about 7 to 8 months to reach Mars, we have to create a station between the Moon and Mars. That is why NASA wants to land on the Moon and create an advanced permanent spaceport on the Moon. However, traveling from the Moon to Mars will be far simpler than going directly from Earth to Mars, even if it might not seem like a big difference. While the Earth's gravity and thick atmosphere make it a pleasant place for us humans to live. Contrary, these factors will severely restrict the amount of cargo we can launch into space at once. The Moon doesn't have these restrictions, but the downside is that it's going to be much more difficult to sustain life up there on the Moon. Hence, if we can figure out a way, certainly the Moon will be an ideal spaceport and also serves as a gateway to the solar system, and these are the long-term goal of NASA's Artemis program. It is not another mission to land on the Moon and plant another American flag there. Rather, they are going to land, make more research about the lunar surface, in order to prepare for an infrastructural development of a spaceport on the Moon. However, NASA will launch the Artemis missions 4 through 10 to learn how to live on the Moon. That means more research will be carried out, and most importantly, extracting some natural resources that will be useful to man, and also extracting oxygen from the available water on the Moon. Also, metals already present on the Moon will be extracted and used as raw materials for building new infrastructure, and at the same time, NASA and SpaceX will work on creating new spaceport in deep space, in the path between the Moon and Mars. Again, the CIS lunar space will also enlarge their coast in space by utilizing the required functions of robotic presence on Mars, and that means sending new rovers on the red planet. But the most exciting part of it is that in the next 10 years, there will be a large-scale deployment of flying machines on Mars, which will emerge as successful first test of the intelligent drones. From other rovers that was sent on Mars to study the red planet, we have confirmed that, with the aid of the wind on Mars, we can fly helicopters on Mars. And that is another opportunity for us to leverage and visit different vast locations on Mars in search of living organisms, live creatures, and even aliens. This opens up a whole new potential for exploration and sample collection on the Red Planet. NASA is also nursing another plan to launch an autonomous space station to Mars orbit, acting as a permanent space station around Mars, not just for missions going to Mars, but also for mission coming back and study the Martian space for more researches. The human spaceport that will be established on the Moon will be a potential breakthrough for NASA scientists to study how humans can survive on the Moon and perhaps dwell as our second planet. NASA can also study how to make the Moon a sci-fi world where almost every infrastructural development will be automated with sophisticated technology to advance human life beyond what it is on Earth. With all of that in place, we will be finally ready to start developing Mars for human colony. There must be more supplies before astronauts can even land on Mars to ensure that everything they will need to survive and ultimately return to Earth is already provided. The Artemis 10 mission will take care of this process. This mission is planned to transport a payload called Mars Cargo Stage 1 to lunar orbit in addition to a mission to the Moon's surface. The lunar surface mission and the deployment of the Mars Payload Stage 2.0 will both take place on Artemis 11. There will be a pre-deployment ascend vehicle on the surface of Mars before the crew arrives, and the pre-deployed cargo will land on a 25-ton Mars lander with propellant for the return trips, a power source, like electricity for the crew, mobility, and safety equipment. The Mars 1 human lander with surface subsystems will be delivered using the massive Artemis 12 to the spacecraft's Gateway station. 4 people will work on the Gateway for 134 days straight, and during this time, NASA will launch the rudimentary mission to Mars from the Gateway facility in lunar orbit. The big event will consist of 2 men landing on Mars in a pressurized spacecraft that will have double partitions in a unit as both a habitation module and a rover vehicle. It's necessary that the astronauts will have to take some days for rest as a result of fatigue accumulated during the long-distance journey from the lunar surface to Mars. So, they have to take some rest and relax their bones in an oxygen-pressurized vacuum. It will probably be a few days before the crew have regained the strength to be able to put on their spacesuits and even walk on the surface of Mars. The 3 astronauts that will first land on Mars will have to live on the surface for 3 days and carry out several science and exploration operations. NASA will also assist astronauts on Martian exploration by developing a transit habitat that employs a hybrid of both chemical and electric propulsion stages. This will support a crew of 4 on the mission to Mars and back. Again, flying rovers will also be employed as mobility vehicles for visiting different areas on the Martian surface. Do you believe that humans can fly and land on Mars, then return back safely and sound? Musk is doing literally everything to achieve so ASAP. Watch on how SpaceX brutally disobeyed the FAA ready to launch Starship.